Thank you for tuning back into Bringing Home the W, where we are telling the story of the creation of Canada's first WNBA team, inviting listeners into the building of the universe that the players will play in and represent. And joining us now to talk about it all is WNBA veteran and four-time Olympian, Natalie Achonwa.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Natalie, May 23rd, we all saw the video you posted, freaking out when you heard the news of the WNBA Toronto team coming to Canada. And so tell me, walk me through those feelings and emotions when you first heard the WNBA Toronto news.
Even when I heard the buzz of the potential of the team, I was so excited for me as a current athlete at that time, and also for the little girl in me. Like, I was just so thrilled to know that this next generation of boys and girls were going to grow up with some of the most spectacular athletes and humans in their backyard with the WNBA team.
Yeah, I can imagine how that might maybe even extend their careers or, you know, make them want to play even harder. Would that have made you play harder if you could have played for Toronto when you were coming up?
I think the WNBA is one thing. North America, still being close to home, I think compared to playing overseas and abroad, playing in on a WNBA team in the US is still close to home. But now to have one on home soil, not only to be able to play and wear that jersey, but to know that it represents so much more, and it gives them something to look up to, something to aspire to be like, to play on, but also just like knowing the badass women that are in the WNBA, like, hello, lead communities, impact communities, change communities, because it's always so much bigger than basketball.
And it's definitely more than a jersey. So I want to talk about that because you've played for, several teams throughout your career. You played half your life on Team Canada because you were the youngest player ever to make that senior women's national team. But I want to know, how does putting on your team's jersey get you into game mode?
There's so many different jerseys that I put on, like you said, from college to playing overseas to the Indiana Fever, then WNBA, and then the Minnesota Lynx. And so one is your relationship to that team and to that jersey matters. Because I remember when I got drafted by the Indiana Fever at that time, playing at Notre Dame, then wearing an Indiana jersey, that was like my home team. Like, we didn't, of course, have this Toronto team. And so Indiana, I was an adopted Hoosier. That was my home team. So the impact of that made that super special. And then I also think about the swag about it that goes into jerseys. And that's where I think in the most recent years, the W has taken this huge stride of meshing together not only just sport, but culture and fashion. And now you see tunnel walks. Now you see players switching up with PEs and different styles of the shoes. And that's how you really take steam in terms of popularity. It's not just the product on the court, but it's what are you bringing to lifestyle and vibe? And so now the expansion of merch that's available is going to be huge. And where I think Toronto could really, really, really own it is when their merch drop is a blend between, you want the team names, you want all that, but you need the swag in there. You want people to rep a Toronto t-shirt, jersey, hoodie, whatever it is, not just because they're going to basketball games, but walking down the street and it's that's the WNBA Toronto team. And that's where I think you build that community around the team, and being Canada's team, there's such a huge window that they can really own.
Merch is definitely important for sure. They just want to represent and be part of something, again, like you said, bigger than themselves. So is there a jersey that you've worn throughout your career that sort of stands out as your favorite of all time, or the one that gave you the most pride to wear?
To be able to wear Canada, which I think you see the similarities now with the WNBA Canada team, but just to know that the jersey means so much more than just a basketball jersey. Wearing Canada on my chest, I knew I represented so much more than just myself, so much more than the name on the back of just my family. I'm representing people from all walks of life, all Canadians. And I did that with so much pride and passion because of that honor that it was to wear that jersey. And now I think you can see those similarities coming with the WNBA Toronto team, knowing that here you are, another Toronto team, another Canada team, and representing the country at the pro level. I hope that those that wear that jersey and put that on also feel that honor and also understand the importance that it is to our community and our country.
Do you think there might be an extended pressure with that extra kind of level of I mean, like, obviously it's an honor and it's a privilege, but it's not the Olympics. It is like professional sports where you're the only Canadian team. Do you think there will be a sense of pressure of having all of Canada behind you or not?
I don't know. I'm trying to put myself in that position, and I don't know if it's pressure. Like, I think a true competitor will like own the moment and really know that like this is your chance to do something special. You're a first of a first. And I think similar to when those games came to Canada, when we had the WNBA game in Toronto and then the one in Edmonton, like I know talking to some of the players that played in it felt that pride of knowing they were the first to do those. And so now you just get a whole season of first, the first time to play this team in this country and the first time to wear the jersey on this floor. Like, I think that's the mentality that it should be, that it shouldn't be pressure, that it should be that honor, that passion, and knowing that you're doing something special.
When you were playing, let's go back to sort of specifically thinking about the jerseys you were wearing or the logos or, you know, the team brand and identity. Was there ever something that made you sort of feel different on the court, like made you play better to be repping that team or that logo?
When I think about like specific logos or brands or teams that really hold weight for me, I think of like my time when I was in college in Notre Dame and the history and the legacy of wearing that jersey. And I think although the Toronto team is new, this is something, it's a new opportunity to be able to establish. And that is like, what is your brand going to represent, not today, but in 10 years? What are you going to be known for? It's not just about the jersey, but it's about building that community around the team. And what does the culture of the team look like? What are you represented in the WNBA? Like often teams have something about them that stands out. You think about the legacy of the Minnesota Lynx and all their championships. I think about the buzzer beater wins of LA for them to win their championship. I think of the first ever dunk. And I think of moments like that in Toronto being able to have this opportunity to establish themselves as what is our team going to be known for? And it's just special to know that you're a part of something so much bigger than just a WNBA team. You are Canada's only first WNBA team.
And the team that's been put together is thinking of all these things, literally like the brand universe they're building. And they're not just, they've shortlisted a few names and they're building out these universes for a few different to see which one is the one. So I'm really excited to see where we go and kind of keeping those things in mind that you've said for sure.
And like also like now being on like the other side, I see how much like goes into these things and there's so much of the team behind the team. And I think that the product that will come out will show based on, I've already seen the Instagram, the post to not only Toronto people, but worldwide, what should the team name be? And I think building that relationship and that community outreach is huge for the buy-in as well. You want people to feel a part of the process. You want people to feel a part of the team. And that's how you build the community around the team.
Yeah, having those different connections and touch points, being in the comments and really trying to, that's what we were trying to do with this is really, give people a window into what's actually happening because it's the idea to be, Teresa Resch wanted this to be Canada's team and wanted to involve all of Canada and get input far and wide just to really so people have that buy-in that you've mentioned. Hopefully with this podcast, people are getting a sense of that.
Yeah, so much room for growth and so much opportunity for growth. And I really know that we're going to own this moment. I know as a country, as a team, Teresa at the helm, I know we're going to own this moment because we've been waiting for it. And I've said this even before the announcement of the team that Toronto has the appetite for basketball. Canada has the appetite for women's sports. And this moment is ours for the taking. And I know we won't disappoint.
On that note, Natalie, thank you so much.
Of course.
Yeah, you tied it up with a nice little bow there. When the WNBA Toronto team tips off in 2026, those players won't just be representing their team, but will be carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire nation on their backs, representing Canada's first WNBA team. Here to talk to me about what that might be like is the first ever Canadian to play for the Toronto Raptors, Jamaal Magloire. Welcome to the show, Jamaal.
Nice to meet you, Tanya and Josh. Thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure.
Honestly, thanks so much for being here. Now, when you first played for the Raptors, did it actually feel like you were playing for an entire country?
It was a great experience. It's probably one of the best experience I've had in my whole career. Obviously, winning a championship in 2019 was another great feat, but being the first Canadian to come back home and play on home soil, it was such a humbling experience because you're right. We only do have one NBA team in the country. So to be a part of the Raptors, to be the first to represent my city, it's a feeling that when the WNBA comes, they're going to feel the same excitement and the same jubilee that I did, because being inaugural, being the first to do it, is something that is special in itself.
Was there a point where you, before Raptors came along, you were like, man, I just wish Canada had a team. I wish Toronto had a team. And then when you finally got that call, I mean, I'm just kind of curious what your thought process was through that and how did that feel?
It's ironic because I went to the University of Kentucky from 1996 to 2000 and never got a chance to see a Raptors game until I was actually playing in the NBA and against them. But nonetheless, going to the University of Kentucky and watching this new team from afar, and I'm just a hair away being in college, trying to get myself into the NBA draft, was just the push I needed to go above and beyond at Kentucky and make sure that I had an opportunity, or gave myself an opportunity, to play at the next level, because Toronto is my hometown, and that's the team that I wanted to always aspire to play for eventually.
I love that. I feel like there's young women in high school and college right now who's feeling that same way about, like young Canadian women feeling that same way about the WNBA Toronto team. So give me a little chills for sure hearing you say that. So let's go back. You were drafted in 2000, 12 seasons in the NBA. You've worn different jerseys across your career. Is there one you felt especially connected to?
Yeah, I obviously Toronto is where my heart is, but I think my first team, the team that took the chance on drafting me, being a Canadian, being one of 3 Canadians at that time in the NBA, where they could have probably went with somebody else that they knew or that they were more familiar with. This team took a chance on me and they changed my life overnight.
Do you remember what it was like your first time putting on that Charlotte Hornets jersey?
It is one of the best feelings in the world because I'm doing something that I love. I put all my eggs in one basket and it worked out for me. So I think I appreciated it a lot more. I just think having the opportunity to play in this fraternity of 350 basketball players, and there's so many people in this world that want to play in the NBA, to be in that brotherhood is second to none, because even now as a retired basketball player, we still connect. These are friendships and relationships that last forever.
I'm curious too, a part of this process and creating an identity and a logo, branding's about lifestyle, and basketball is such a lifestyle culture. And I know there's an element of when you kind of switch teams and switch logos, switch brands, you don't necessarily have a choice. But was there one that you found, like, even kind of selfishly, you put it on and you're like, oh yeah, this logo, it's giving me a little bit more swagger. Like this gives me something. Can the logo really improve your play mentally a bit, just based on its history, its context?
That's a tough question for me. I think, at least for me, I kind of take every team as face value, and I never really looked at a logo and had anything to do with performance for me. I know there are some storied programs, organizations out there that have won 17, 18 championships, and they're a little bit more familiar. But I think just having something that resonates, some of the best brands and labels in in the world are very subtle.
Even with the Hornets, like they have their, from the 80s, they had the sort of cartoony Hornet. How did you feel about
Buzz?
Buzz? There you go.
We did have the Hive back when I was playing for the Charlotte Hornets, and we had Buzz, which was our Hornet. The animation was good. I mean, we used to sting a lot of teams. Everybody enjoyed it. And even now, though their mascot changed, people still wear the retro logo. And the same thing with the dinosaur, with the Raptors. We now are into our 30th anniversary this year, and you're going to see a lot more of the purple, red, and you're going to see a lot more of the dinosaurs. So I think that's something that when you talk about lifestyle in your earlier question is trending and going that way, is that people are kind of going back to some of the things in the past.
I can definitely sense your passion with the city. And I think you being a community ambassador for the Raptors and development consultant, they've definitely tapped into the right person with the right connections. You know, I hope that with this WNBA Toronto team being named, those players that tip off in 2026 will feel that same sense of pride that you always felt when you put on any of the NBA jerseys you wore.
Thank you very much.
Awesome, Jamaal. Thank you so much for taking the time for bringing home the W. And we'll see you when it all tips off in 2026.
Yeah. Thank you and good luck to you guys. Please keep me posted and keep me in the loop.
Josh, today we're trying to understand how sports logo and brand design can impact the athletes playing and wearing the jersey. Or in our next guest case, her hockey sweater. She's the reigning Olympic and world champion with the Canadian women's national hockey team, and she won the Billie Jean King MVP award in the inaugural season of the PWHL. Please welcome Natalie Spooner.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Honestly, Natalie, thank you so much for being here. And it's really nice to see. I saw your recent Instagram post. You've been back on the ice. Mm-hmm. So that's really, really nice to see. So I think PWHL fans are excited. Good.
Yes.
Good. I know that was traumatic and for everyone involved, I'm sure.
Yeah. We got through the hard part now, but now it's a fun part.
Good. Good. So glad to hear it. So you're on the PWHL Toronto team, and they played their first season without a nickname. Just recently, we found out it's going to be the Toronto Sceptres, or it is the Toronto Sceptres. What did you think when you first heard the news of the name of the Toronto team?
Yeah, I was not part of the naming committee. They had a big group kind of behind the scenes that worked on it and named all the teams. Obviously, Toronto, our Instagram had put out some little, secrets and kind of things you can kind of guess. So I thought something to do with royalty. We like to say for our team that we're bringing hockey royalty to Toronto. I feel like Toronto has such a long history of having amazing, male hockey players playing, in Toronto. But now we're getting to bring a professional women's team here and get, Canadian hockey royalty, American hockey royalty coming to play in Toronto.
Amazing. We're going to get into some questions just specifically about branding. But first, I want to know, you're an amazing hockey player. That's settled. You ever ball?
I wouldn't say I'm great. We play sometimes as warm-ups for hockey, to be honest. Bump. We mostly play bump. I wouldn't say I'm bad. I would say I'm top half. I would like to hope. Maybe middle of the pack. But yeah, I can definitely use a little practice. Maybe, when the team gets here, they could teach me a little more technique.
I got it. Okay. So thinking through all your years, on the national team, on the Furies, all, the PWHPA, how does wearing your team's jersey get you into game mode?
Ooh, I think it's you're able to represent something bigger than yourself. When you're able to be a part of a team, you play for each other. And I think that knowing, you just feel that pride of being able to represent, something that's not just going out there and representing yourself. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've always loved team sports. And I think, when I think about Canada, you're obviously representing your country, but you're also representing, all those girls that left this huge legacy before you, this winning legacy, and won so many Olympics and world championships. But then you're also playing for all those little girls that will play in the future. So I think obviously with the Toronto Sceptres, it's going to be pretty cool because we're the ones going to be writing that legacy. And we have the opportunity here to like in Toronto to leave that legacy. And we want to leave it as a winning legacy that down the line, they strive for that same, winning mentality. So it's pretty cool that we're just at the beginning, but we have the opportunity because we are at the very start.
Yeah, it's quite the dichotomy because you have been, a veteran of Team Canada. And like you said, you have that winning legacy. And now you're with the Sceptres. It's all you, girl.
It's all brand new. Yeah, it's all up to us.
What was like? Obviously, like you weren't involved in the process, like you said, but was there a psychological shift now, knowing that okay, my identity before as a team was with, just kind of a generic name, so to speak, but now you have this name. Did something click? Did something shift? Knowing that you had to kind of be explained a little bit about the name history. But did that shift anything for you?
You know what? I think it's going to actually like increase the rivalries and the compete within the league, because I think year one, we had come off the PWHPA where we had to band together as a huge group and use our collective voice. But it kind of did carry over into the PWHL where we were all in this to prove that women's hockey was sustainable and we deserve to have a league. Whereas now we have our own team identities and it's like, we're not all PWHL something, right? We're now the Toronto Sceptres. So I think in that sense, we can really rally around it and embrace our own identities. And I'm sure each team will pull something different from their identity and embrace it, whether it's people, dressing up as queens for our games, having a throne for people to take pictures on, like whatever it is. I think it can also enhance the fan experience. And I think the fans are excited that we now have team identities and team names, because that was something that they wanted to be able to support and to be able to rally around.
And honestly, I'm excited for that now too, that fan experience, because they with the Toronto PWHL team, they were dressing up, making signs and everything. Mm-hmm. So you're right. There's going to be like a new little twist on the fandom, basically. And now you're going to be in a bigger arena, a bigger home arena. So it's going to be even louder in there.
Yeah. I mean, our fans were amazing last season. Like there's people who dressed up as spoons, people who dressed up as nurses. There were like, you could find everything in the stands. So I'm intrigued to see, are people going to like turn a spoon into a scepter and like bejewel it? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Challenge accepted. I'll do it.
Perfect.
Wait and see, you will for sure, because you haven't had a chance yet to play in those brand new ones. But I do want to know, throughout your career, if you're thinking from all through your hockey career, is there a jersey or team symbol that you yourself have felt the most connected to?
Yeah, probably the maple leaf. I mean, when I was little, like that was my dream, to play for my country, to play for Team Canada. So I still remember so vividly, like the under 18 level, when I got to put on my Team Canada jersey. And that was the first year there was an under 18 team. So we got to do it all at the exact same time. Like no girl had played on Team Canada before. So that was something that was so special. And then obviously representing your country, representing something that's so much bigger than yourself, than, your city, your family. You're representing all the little girls, plus the legacy that, all these ladies had left behind with Team Canada. It was just like a dream come true. And I still think every time I get to put that jersey on, it's like, wow, pinch me, like I'm playing for Team Canada. I'm representing my country and, playing on the world stage.
You mentioned jersey. Is there something about the jersey or the logo? And obviously there's a bit of trying to see the future right now because you haven't actually played yet with the new jersey, but is there something about it that gives you some swagger, some like, okay, yeah, while Team Canada is great and it's for a country, but no, like Toronto Sceptres, like this is us?
I mean, I think we got a pretty powerful looking logo. It's pretty sharp. So I think like our jerseys are going to look pretty sweet. But then I think it is just about knowing like what this jersey can become. Like right now the jersey is not out there, but eventually we're going to see people wearing this jersey all across Toronto, possibly across Canada. There could be fans anywhere, that cheer on Toronto. So it's pretty cool that, this is our identity now, but it's going to become something so much bigger, and we're going to see people really embrace it and wearing it and representing us and cheering us on. And I think that's the part that I'm excited about, is to see kind of where it goes and how it takes a life of its own eventually, because, we haven't even got into the jersey yet, but people are excited about the merch and about everything that's coming out with the new logo on it.
But you have worn, obviously, the Canada jersey, and now you're representing Toronto, Canada in a way, Canadians in a way, with the Sceptres. So can you give me a little bit of comparison from the difference between wearing both of those jerseys?
I mean, they're so different. You think about like Team Canada, and again, you think about that legacy and just like the dream I had as a little girl. And when I was little, like there was no PWHL. So like my dream was to play in the NHL, but then I knew that wasn't going to happen. So it was then to play for Team Canada, to go to the Olympics, to win a world championship. So like, to me, that was like my end all be all epic goal. Whereas like now I think about all the little girls, and their epic goal can be to play for the Toronto Sceptres. Like that can be, their end all be all, and the goal that they want to reach is to play professional women's hockey and to have a career in women's hockey. So I think that that's pretty amazing. I mean, it's different because, again, the PWHL, like it's been a grind to get here. Like I didn't have to establish like Team Canada. Like, yes, we changed our team culture and we became, we went through humps and bumps, and we became a winning team again. But at the same time, like with the PWHL, it's also new, and we get to write that story right from the beginning, and make it how we want to make it, which is cool. And then leave it for the next generation and all those little girls to have that dream that we never got to have. So I think that that's something that is like in your head, you're like, it's a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility, but you're also like, I just need to go out there and play hockey.
And you do. And so I want you to sort of think into the future about, the first time you step back onto the ice, whenever that may be, in that new kit, that new jersey, that new, I don't know if you're going to have different shorts or all the things, pads. I don't know if it's all new again, but can you just imagine? I just picture you as like a superhero walking out, and can you just kind of walk me through like what that might feel like for you?
Yeah, I think it's going to feel pretty powerful. Like it's been, I guess, long awaited in a sense that last year we didn't have these team identities, but now to be able to have that, I think just knowing like how powerful our logo is and, what we stand for, I think it's going to be pretty epic when we get to go out there in our blue and gold jerseys and represent Toronto. I think there's no better city. Grew up in Toronto, so I couldn't be happier to be playing here and, get to have my family there all the time, which is awesome. So I think, it's going to be pretty amazing and another historic moment for women's hockey. I think we've had a lot of historic moments in the last year, but another one that's just a stepping stone that eventually the Toronto Sceptres will become a household name and people will know, about our team. And then we get to welcome in the WNBA team in a few years and kind of grow our female sports in Toronto, which I think is even cooler. I think that the pretty cool thing about the WNBA too coming to Toronto is it's going to be Canada's first team, and they're going to have the support of all of Canada and all of Toronto, but they're also able to make a statement for basketball in Canada. And it's going to be such a huge impact on our country. I'm sure their logo is going to be embraced and everyone is going to love it. And we're going to cheer hard for it. But I think it's almost bigger than the logo even. It's something that's so, historic in the country that they're able to, make a statement for women's basketball. I mean, in Toronto, yes, but across Canada, which I think is even more amazing.
Seriously, though. And just like you said, you dreamed of being in the NHL, and now little girls can dream about being in the PWHL. And same goes for, I even wanted to be in the NBA growing up. And now, the W is coming to the city. So it is a historical moment all around. I hope there's like collabs with the teams and stuff. And all the teams.
I hope so too. I would love to come. I'll come out to some games for sure. So love to get some of the girls out
right? Yeah, I can see. I can see.
If I get tickets there,
I don't have that power. But I feel like you guys are all like, you and Sarah Nurse, you guys would be like courtside. I just picture it.
That being said, actually, in comparing, you know what it's like to have year one as a new team. Any tips for the WNBA? Obviously it's not till 2026, but WNBA Toronto's coming. Any insights you can give to the upcoming team and what they should expect in year one?
I think they're going to be blown away by the support that you get in Toronto. I think the most special part is that I've been blown away by the fans and the community that our fans have created around our games. You see the little girls and the little boys at our games, but you also see the older ladies who missed out on this dream and who would have wished to have been playing professional hockey. And I'm sure the fan base for the WNBA is going to be the exact same. So I would just tell the girls to embrace it, to love it, and to embrace the city. And I think they're just going to be blown away by the support. And I know our team will be supporting them and going out to some games. So it's going to be awesome.
Well, Natalie, thank you so much for your insight and your excitement and being so candid with us about just the process with the Sceptres and then, your excitement about the city. And so we really appreciate it. And we can't wait to see you play the next season with that Sceptres jersey on.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Can't wait to see you at a WNBA game as well.
Yes, I can't wait.
Courtside.
2026.
Courtside.
Yes, I need the courtside seats.